Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Morning, everybody. It's DJ NV, Charlamagne the Guy. We are the Breakfast Club. We got our guest co-host, Erica Duchess, with us this morning. And we got some special guests joining us this morning. Bresha, Webb, Corbin, Reid, and Amber Stevens-West. Welcome.
Thank you for having us.
Now, you got to start off with this. Now, Charlamagne said that he met your mom.
I don't.
And you
listen,
said
no.
that
I
he
didn't say that. That's why I asked her off air, because I was trying to remember. I said, I feel like I met your mom before.
I would not be surprised if you had, but I love that you are on our Christmas card list.
He didn't make the Rock Nation brunch, but he made
my family Christmas card list.
But that Christmas card it's serious business. It folds
opens up, it's the
out.
whole
It's like
family.
a full
It's a full photo
experience.
shoot. They got stars in it. Like
It's a whole thing. We've been
background.
doing this Christmas card my entire life.
But it was your mom and my wife connected somehow. I don't know how it happened. I just remember I was like, why is this Christmas?
My mom makes friends with everyone she
Yeah.
meets. Yeah, she's like your mom too. Your mom and your mom's also.
Listen,
we have really fun moms.
We have fun moms.
Yeah. They'll crochet anything. My mom will crochet anything for me.
Well, good morning, ladies.
Good
How are you?
morning.
Good.
Run the World Season 2.
May 26th on Stars. So for
Yes.
people that haven't seen Run the World, what is Run the World?
Run the World is a fun show about 3 women living their lives in Harlem. Our friendship binds us together. We're running our careers. We're running our love lives. We're Black women doing it.
Yeah.
And it's just a fun show about just women
Friendship
living,
and success and love and yeah.
And we look fabulous.
And it's a comedy and we look fabulous. Yes.
yes, you do.
Thank you.
How did y'all get teamed up together for this show?
We were cast, Charlamagne. They brought us in.
Our talents brought us together.
Did y'all know each other
Our talents and our
beforehand?
good looks. I did not know these two. These two knew each other.
Yeah.
However, I met them at the chemistry read, and it was like at the test, and it was like instant. I mean, like the casting director Kim Coleman had to be like, "You guys, can you please keep it down? Like other people are reading." We were like, "Yeah, no, we're good."
Yeah, the chemistry was
friendship.
there.
Instant friendship. Yeah.
Chemistry is definitely real.
But Bresha and I met probably 12, 15
Yeah.
years ago. We've known each other a long time. A lot of friends in common in LA.
And we love to sing
Yeah,
all the
and
time.
so when this show came around, as we heard that both of us were being considered for the parts, I texted her and I was like, "If you do it, I'll do it."
Same.
Because it was a big deal for us because we live in Los Angeles, and to move out here to New York, it was like a big deal.
So how was that? How did you have to, get up on your New York slang? Right?
Well, I'm from Baltimore, so the New York slang ain't really that hard. And our
Yes, it is,
characters.
because y'all know you go to you and do
I mean,
and true.
I had to put that in the
That's
trash
true.
a long time ago. I bring it back when I get angry. But, but seriously, I mean, our characters are all from different places. Our friendship started at Spelman. And, so we're about being women from different places coming together in Harlem and working and growing in Harlem. So our slang didn't have to be so much about.
Like my character's from the South.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't have a Southern accent on the show, but
Yeah.
Now, I'm assuming that y'all taped the season 2 before the writer's strike.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a
We
while.
finished it like a year ago.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Sorry, fans. Sorry, people that watch season 1.
Yeah, it's taken a while, but we're coming back finally.
It'll be worth the wait.
Yeah.
How do you feel like the characters grew in season 2?
A lot.
A lot. Yeah. The first season was really establishing who these characters were and what their friendship was with each other. But the end of the season left us all, there's a lot of cliffhangers at the end of season 1. And so season 2 is really just about them kind of learning more about themselves and leaning on each other even more. They're all they're very successful in their lives, but they're still growing as human beings. And so they're at a place in their lives, like a fork in the road, basically, for all of them.
All learning how to be selfish for the first time. We've been working towards our careers and our relationships and love and taking care of our families. We forget about who we are and what we actually want. So that's what I love about the show, is for Black women, or just women in general, just to be reminded about how powerful they are and what we have to say no to and what we have to say yes to.
Gotcha.
And our show's really cool too, because I feel like you see women in their 20s figuring it out. Like that's a very glamorized thing on TV shows. But our show is about women in their 30s still figuring it out, and I don't feel like that's a topic that gets explored as much. And I think it's good that we're normalizing that and celebrating that, and also making it feel aspirational and exciting. And it's not like, okay, you're in your 30s, you have to be married, you have to have kids, you have to have all these things, like these established things. It's like, you know what? We might make a huge career shift in our 30s. We might be confused about whether or not, this fiance or this serious partner is someone that we really want to be with.
Or if we want to have kids.
Or if we even want to have kids. I think it's
right.
like a very modern day take on what it is to be a woman and an ambitious woman.
I'm sorry. Do either one of y'all have kids? Nobody.
I have two
got
kids.
the kids.
You got two.
She got all the kids.
I would never,
I have two little girls.
little girl. I would
Yeah.
never thought you had some kids.
Oh my God, because I look so young. Thank you.
I'm a bonus mom now.
Yeah, she's
I
like-
got
she-
married.
Yeah, I see the picture.
congratulations,
Yeah,
Bresha.
we both got married.
Congratulations.
Y'all got married?
Yeah.
Oh, well, good luck with that.
Damn, Erica.
What's up with that?
No, I mean, I tried it. I did it.
You was married?
Yeah, I was married for 6 months.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I got divorced on Zoom.
Oh wow. Okay. Interesting. I'd like to know
That
more
sounds
about
like a TV
that.
show in and of itself.
Yeah.
Divorce on
Sound like a
It
sad
began,
story.
it
man.
began and ended all in the same.
Yeah, I did.
Zoom.
I did and done.
Period.
Man, Amber hit her with the most graceful. Let's get out this conversation. Amber said, "Oh, I'd like to hear more about that." Later.
I don't want to force it, but I do want to know more about how you did get divorced on Zoom.
Yeah, because we was doing the pandemic.
Oh,
Interesting. Okay,
Yeah,
and so you
we
could
had
just do it
we
on that.
We right here on the phone just like
Right
this
here.
with the
Jesus.
judge and a little block.
Wow.
I said, Judge, all I want is my bed. It's the bed that we just bought because he had me on blow up bed for 6 months.
So you knew what you was getting yourself into before.
Not really. He tricked me. He was like a pastor child, so he kind of tricked me a little
Davey
bit.
the one.
Uh-oh.
though.
Sounded
So,
with
like I
Pampers.
said, this sounds like a TV show.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Oh, literally, I have a TV show coming with something around my life. So
All right.
you're kind of smart.
Now, I was going to ask now y'all both recently got married. Was there pressure to get married? Because you talk about sometimes the pressure of getting married and having kids. Was there pressure from the family to get married?
I mean, my family's Jamaican. That my grandma was like, 93. She's like, I'm gonna die soon. Please get married so I can be there.
She said that?
Oh yeah. She said it to my husband at the time, fiance. Like
To your boyfriend, you met him the first day.
She has no shame. Like that's a very very Caribbean thing.
What part of Jamaica?
She's from Westmoreland.
Westmoreland, okay.
West, and my other grandma's from Clarendon, so they're not far apart.
Yeah. I kind of been manifesting getting married for so long. Charlamagne
Yes,
knows
you
this.
have. Bresha.
I would talk about how I couldn't find a man, where they at, and I really said if God don't do it, it won't get done because it was really scarce in these streets.
But where'd you find him?
Wait a minute.
Where'd
Like,
you find
damn,
him?
where'd
We
you find
found
him?
him. Well, I didn't find
I know.
him. You know, he found me.
Okay,
Praise
you
God.
gotta
say that.
Okay,
Okay.
he found me.
Okay,
Where'd you
Well,
meet
you know
him?
what? Shout out to
Lonnie
Lonnie
Love.
Love. Lonnie Love, Sinqua, my brother. We met over FaceTime during the pandemic. I was working and I went in the quarantine for a week or two, came out with a boyfriend and a year later engaged.
Oh,
and-
1 year later.
Yeah, 1 year
got-
later
oh, just like-
engaged.
Did you take it
and-
serious at first because it was over FaceTime? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I had been praying about it. And like, it wasn't like, oh, we meeting on FaceTime. You gonna be my husband or something like that. It wasn't that time. I wasn't thirsty like that. No. But no. But he was just a great guy. And
It's hard not to love Nick Jones.
oh,
We
and
love
my
Nick
boo
Jones.
boo,
Was
hey Nick Jones Jr.
I got a bunch of homegirls who was about to give up until it happened for Bresha.
Really?
Yes, and they used Bresha as their example all the time. I'm not even joking.
Thank you.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Thank you. God is good. I mean,
Yes, he
listen,
is. It
keep
can
hope alive
manifest.
and
Keep
don't
hope
lower your
alive.
standards.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do not lower your standards.
What she said.
What was your standards though?
Just bring something. I mean, like anything that starts
Would
with
you date a bus driver?
Listen, if I love what you put on your
topic that came up
page.
recently.
We're not going to be in the if world. We're not going to be in the if. No. We just going to be in the right now. What's on the table is, what I want. I just wanted a man that brought something to me because I know what I bring. And I honor what I have done. And I want him to honor what he's done and bring it so we can be evenly yoked.
That's right.
And, in love and finances and just keep it real. And when you meet somebody like that meets you in that same place, that loves like you love, wants a life like you want a life, and cares about the same things that you care about, don't take that for granted.
Were you nervous at
Doesn't
all?
matter what he does, but seriously, connection is key.
Were you nervous at all since it was, through FaceTime at first? Because, people can lie.
Listen, your friends know who you are.
Your friends set you up so they knew what it was.
Yeah. When Lonnie Love and, people that you respect call you and say, hey, this is a good guy. Are you interested in talking to him?
You talking about Lonnie Love from the
Yes,
show?
from the real.
Oh.
Comedian, and that was his, he's a writer and worked with her. And she was like, you know what? I'm going to get
dope.
you a black woman. And it just happened that Sinqua knew him too. And that's his best friend. And we had met 3 or 4 years prior at a comedy show. I was doing stand-up, and he just randomly came and we hung out the whole night, but I didn't know that was him. Like, I remember that night, but, that's just God just giving you a wink.
Is it hard to play characters who are married or, who may not have kids when you are married and have kids?
I actually had a challenge with my character because she's playing like I don't want to call it a fake step-parent, but she is stepping in with, she's an older man, that she's with, and he's also like her thesis advisor because she's getting her PhD, and she's taking on this parenting role, with his daughter, and she loves it, and it does also ends up being a situation where she feels taken for granted, and I'd have never had that experience, but I did have a lot of women, say to me like, I relate to this so much, and men too. Like, I relate to this dichotomy. I relate to being put in this position where, like in season 2, Tika Sumpter, her real mom comes back into the picture, and I hear people saying like, we watched the season and like, this is a role that I'm in right now, having to like tread this line between my new partner and my child's mother, and I understand like the challenges that presents, and it was nice to hear the feedback that they identified with it, because as an actor or as a human being, I've never had that experience, but it's nice that like to know that I'm able to portray it in a way that feels relatable. So that's been interesting.
What about you, Amber? 'Cause you got 2 of them things.
Well, my character on the show is in the pilot, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the show, cheats on her fiance. And she is very unsure about what she wants for her future, because she's a very type A personality who's been doing everything the right way and checking every box in her life. And she's finally going to get married to, like, on paper, he's the perfect man. And he's got a wonderful family, a big Nigerian family, and they're planning this big epic wedding, and it's very overwhelming for her. So she ends up sleeping with someone because she's just never acted out in any way.
Never had experiences.
Never had any experiences and just felt like stifled in some way. And so that's the way she acted out. So she is just struggling with that. And I don't identify with that part because I've been married for so long. I've been married for 8 years, and we've been together way longer than that.
Did you get to wild out before you got married? That's why you don't relate to it?
I did some dating. I'm a very monogamous personality. I just boo up real fast. But I met my husband when I was 22. So we've been together for so long. But it was interesting to just play a character who was just so nervous about taking that next big step. And I think a lot of people relate to that. They feel like they need to check that box by the time they turn 30 so that they can say that they won or whatever. And this character is very much like, I got everything that I wanted in my life, and I'm still unsure if that's what I really want. So I like that.
What about you, Bree? Is it hard to be a single woman now? Play a single woman?
Listen, I can relate.
Okay.
But, my character, she was married, and, she had a great relationship with her husband, and she dropped him. She dropped him and was going through the divorce and everything, and, he stole her money pretty much, and that was first season, and so now she's out here single doing her thing, and I can relate to that. But I also, in this second season, I love that she's realizing that the heart really wants what it wants, and she misses that piece of her life. So I can understand that too, because there is a longing for love and for stability when you're trying to find your footing in a new place, because she has a new career path. She quits her job, she leaves her husband, she's doing a whole bunch of stuff. So she's really trying to reclaim who she is and remember, like, there's people around her that love her and that she has to go and get them and show them and clean up herself a little bit, like to take accountability. And I totally can, I know what that means now, being married. But, like just being married and just understanding the commitment and the love that it takes to know even when you're going through a season, it doesn't matter. You can get through it.
Now talk about that. Now, how is it being married? Because like you said, you have a partner now. So now everything has to, it's not just you now. Now it's not just what I want to do. It's not just what I want to watch on television. It's not just what I want to eat. So how is breaking that down? Because it's a lot of 50-50 give and take.
Yeah, and you got to do a lot of soul searching for yourself.
What was the toughest fight? What was the toughest argument, I should say?
The toughest argument, I think, really is when I have to look at myself and know that it's your fault. Like what you said, hurt someone's feelings.
Just take accountability.
Yeah, that accountability. When you're living by yourself, you don't have to go, oh, I'm great. I'm perfect.
Yeah.
And when you have that mirror showing you who you really are and reminding you and holding you accountable, to what you said you were going to do and you don't do it, woo!
That's growth.
That's growth.
Yeah.
But that's also God reminding you
Right.
about who you are and what you're supposed to be and really trying to make you better.
Amber Corbin, what are your thoughts?
I mean, my husband and I had been together for 7 years before we got married. And it's interesting because people keep asking me, like, what's different? Like, what has changed since you've gotten married? We got married this past New Year's Eve.
Mm-hmm.
And
You got married on New Year's Eve?
on New Year's Eve
I
in
did, too.
Jamaica.
In
no
Jamaica.
grill.
Oh, got you.
Yeah. It was really dope.
I did too.
They were there too.
That
They
was
were-
this New Year's
Nah,
Eve
it
is
was
when you were
2 years.
married?
It was 2 years ago, but it was New Year's Eve.
Oh,
At the
wow.
courthouse.
On
Vegas.
Zoom.
Vegas.
Oh, Vegas.
Vegas.
Oh, Lord.
We went to Vegas.
I love this show.
How were you married?
Just one girl.
Just
And
the
I
one
couldn't even
time.
believe it myself. I said, you asking me to marry you? I couldn't even believe it, girl. We heard got married. I got married within 4 months though.
Wow.
wow. No,
so
7 years.
It was kind of
Yeah, you're like, it took a while.
We were like, let's do this. But no, I would say it just feels like the stakes are not as high when we have an argument because we've had our share of arguments over 7 years. And I think now there's that thing that's like, neither of us is going anywhere.
Yeah, you're on the
So
same team now.
It's not,
Yeah.
it's the same team. And it's like, the only way through this is to compromise.
Yeah.
And
Right.
that is actually a really beautiful feeling because it's not the ego feels like it's dropped away magically somehow. This union makes it feel like we want to work through it instead of like being right, which is and that just gives me like a sense of security and also just feels very like mature, to be able to like have an argument and like, or have not even an argument, just a disagreement.
Right, because there's no winning and losing.
There's no winning
you
or
shouldn't win or
losing.
lose in
Right,
an argument
right,
with your
right.
spouse.
There's no
But that can be
Absolutely.
hard. That can be a hard place to get to when you feel like there are stakes, and it's like you feel like when you're dating, sometimes it's like you have to teach someone how to treat you in a way. Like this is what I will tolerate. This is what I will not tolerate. And it's like you do. It's nice to get to a point where it's like it's not about that. It's like
Correct.
just about understanding the other person's perspective.
Yeah.
Hey, you got to say, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we call it right fighting. Me and my wife call it right fighting, like where you're fighting just to be right and not to understand.
Yeah.
And that's when the
Yes.
argument usually goes
Yeah.
left.
Oh, that's a
Yeah.
good word.
My
good
therapist always
terminology.
said,
I
be
didn't know that.
curious. Be curious to why they're saying what they're saying instead of trying to prove your point.
Correct.
Yeah.
Be curious in love
Yeah.
and trying to listen.
Listening.
Oh my God, listen.
Listening is such a big
Can you
thing.
admit you wrong?
Well, yeah. Yeah, I can admit now.
She
I'm
said
a
now.
Taurus. I'm a Taurus. So
Hard-headed, bold.
yes, I'm
or
not
ram or
moving.
whatever it is.
But
Yeah.
that's just a
Compromise.
woman, period. Like taking accountability. Us women, we just know we just be right. Especially, you know what I'm saying? So it just be hard to have someone to listen to, like, to understand. Like, it'd be hard for us, not us, I just mean, I'm not include y'all. It'd be kind of hard when I be like, knowing I'm right or feel like I'm right, but kind of wrong, and they be right. And I have to admit to him.
They're more right than you.
Yeah. So I'm like, dang,
It'd be
he is
midway.
right.
It'd be midway through the conversation, the
Right.
argument.
I'll
You
be
be
like,
like,
you know
God damn,
what?
I did say that, didn't I? God damn, I did that. Yeah. You right. You did. I
That's
did
how
say
I
that.
be like, yeah,
God
so-
damn.
I want to go back to something Amber said about her character Whitney because I think this is important too. Your character needed more experience, before they got married. Is that something that women actually go through?
Yeah, I think men go through that too.
Mm-hmm. That's
You
why
just
they
want to
be
experience
cheating.
as much life as you can so that you look back with no regrets and you feel like you've made the right choice in your life, especially if you're going to commit to somebody for the rest of your life because you're choosing to spend everything with them. And like we were saying, you want to be on the same team with them and you're going to have to compromise. So you want to make sure you're going to do that with someone that you respect.
Well, we call it, for men and women, we call it the whole face.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
missed mine.
You
I hate
ain't
it.
miss yours,
Yes, I
did you?
did. I
Really?
really did. I missed it. I missed it.
Why you missed
Because
it?
I with my first baby daddy for like 10 years. I was with him since I was 14
Damn.
to 23.
Damn.
And then when I got
And you loyal.
yeah, then I was loyal. I was high school sweetheart. And he was my first. So I was
Yeah.
with him for a long time. Then after him, I think I gave myself like a 7 months break. Then I was with my little girl dad.
Mm-hmm.
Then that was 9 years of my life.
Damn.
Yeah, and then I was here 9 years. So now, then I was in my 30s. But when I ended that, I was like in my 30s or something, in my early 30s. So I missed out on so much.
You ain't missed out. You still got time.
Hold on. I thought I missed out on so much because I was with them at such a young age. So I got with somebody that was 10 years younger than me. So I had started messing with like a young dude, and he had brought me back. I was like, ooh. I said, ooh. I said, he want to fight. He going to the club. He fighting in the club. Ooh, oh my God. Like, oh, I love
You in your own music video. You was in your own music video. You a little baby in there.
So I missed it. So that's why I liked the young guy so much, because he was just so young, going to the club, and he be fighting and stuff.
Yeah.
I like, didn't nobody do that for me. Ooh, he want to fight over me. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, so I was in love with that. so I missed it.
So do women have to go through that phase?
I think everyone's
think
a little
so.
different.
Corbin's like, yes.
Because now
I
you're
was in
single.
New York for 6 years, and I had fun.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Okay.
did it, and I really don't feel like I've dated all kinds of guys, and I think New York, honestly, this is like the best place to date, because you get all types of people, and there's the meat packing. I was that when I first moved here.
You was in a meat packing party.
But I think it's so important to also to find out what you want. And what works for you, Not even just being a hoe, but just like dating,
I don't like
And
that word
figuring
whole
out-
phase. I keep my numbers. Numbers should be down,
Yeah.
I just try to.
Yeah, mine down, but I
don't like
so
that
wish
word
they
hoe.
would
I
overlook it.
dated.
Yeah, so what is
I
it?
Dated.
Yeah.
I'm a lady now. I'm a lady.
I'm a lady.
I'm a lady. Look at my outfit. I'm a lady.
So what does it look like? I guess what does that phase look like? I don't know what you call it.
You know,
but-
somebody say you out to dinner.
I guess
you
your
know,
promiscuous years.
you know, they
wanna say?
they
I
just
don't
out.
know.
You outside.
You
Yeah,
outside.
outside
Yeah.
days.
I think just meeting a bunch of different personalities and finding who you want to spend your time with and what kind of lifestyle you want to have, and just finding the person that complements what you're looking for out of life.
Because I feel like based off your character, that is a conversation you should have with your significant other, right? Like you
Yeah.
should let them know you have lived, because that could be a fear that I might get with this person who hasn't lived, and then when we together, they might want to go live
you
while we
don't
together.
tell-
Absolutely, it's
Or
a
it could be a
conversation you
fear
should
the
have.
other way. It
Yeah.
could be you live too much, and now I go to a restaurant and I see the
Right, 'cause
person
I
that you
never
lived
tell
with,
them
and
I'm
they ain't
biased.
me.
Listen, you got to know what you're getting into before you show up. Look, that's what Instagram is for.
That's what it is.
Like, you got to do your research.
Now, season 2, you guys gained some new characters on the show, some new castmates.
Yes.
And you lost some new castmates. So talk to people about who's not coming back and who's coming to the new
Well,
season.
you know,
It used to be 4 of y'all, right?
it used to be 4 of us. Yeah. Yeah. We'll see what had happened was.
Ella, where's Ella?
Where Ella? Okay, let's get
What y'all
down
did
to
to
it.
Ella?
Ella, she had to, everybody has a decision, and has to protect themselves. So much respect to her and what she decided to do.
She ain't want
Her
to come
real
back.
name's Andrea, right?
Andrea.
Andrea
Boyd.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she did the right thing for her. We moved along. I went and got my bag. We all did that. And we came back with season 2, and she still shows up. Her presence is ever so present.
Yeah, her
throughout the
character is
whole-
still a part of
Yeah.
the show, and she's referenced a lot, and she comes and saves the day sometimes. Like, she's still definitely a friend, but the character is addressed as to where they go, and I think it's handled like really great and
In the
actually
first
very
episode, yeah.
real. Like friends move away.
So there
They
was no
live in other
internal beef.
places.
It wasn't because y'all were beefing behind the scenes.
Absolutely not.
No.
No.
We
We're
love
ladies.
and support Andrea, and we wish her the absolute best. However, we do think our chemistry is still so strong and so good, and everything we're bringing in season 2, I think, just is elevated from what we did in season 1. I think people are going to be really ecstatic about what we bring to the
Stars
table
couldn't
in
get the bag
season
right
2.
for Andrea.
No.
That's what it sounds
I'm not saying that. I should say I went to go get my bag.
got
I
you.
can't speak about other people's bags. You understand? But my bag was. I went and got my bag. But people make decisions for themselves.
And who are the new castmates? Who's? Because they said
There
some
is.
people.
There's just
Nobody
us.
new to the show. Okay.
It's just us.
We're the 3 leads
Leads,
of the
yeah,
show,
yeah.
and then we have just more
Great guest stars.
Cree
Great
Summer,
guest
Cree
stars.
Summer's the
Summer.
therapist.
Cree Summer's
Tika
part of the show.
Sumpter. We have, who else do we have this season? You have some wonderful people in your funeral.
Aisha.
Oh,
The funeral.
Oh,
see now, Corbin, you over here spoiling.
Funeral.
Listen, now I will say this: I do not speak about
died?
this.
there is a funeral.
There's a funeral.
It's not your funeral. then.
no, that's not her
Y'all killing Ella off.
Y'all killed her off.
Crazy.
They killed Ella off.
No, there's a funeral. There's a lot of things that happen this season.
There's a wedding and a funeral.
Yes, there's a wedding and a funeral. Yes, so We got through it.
Erica Duchess, I mean, they can add.
They can add you. You could be my cousin. There's so many things. We go to Chicago. There's a lot of things that we
take y'all to comedy clubs and stuff like that. You know,
we would have a lot of. We can do a lot of things on Zoom.
We can have a Zoom divorce. Oh my God, that would be fun.
Help me in my divorce.
When y'all want to write that out, in,
yes,
we'll call you.
Erica Duchess.
Now, let me ask y'all. So now y'all on press runs and y'all hang out sometimes. Who's the one that's always late? Okay.
Damn.
Who eats the most?
I would think it was Corbin.
not really.
I would think it was Corbin because she's
I
Jamaican.
show up for money.
Actually, on time.
Always late.
Wow.
I didn't even say it out loud.
time.
Because it's just if you had to choose who's going to show up last, it doesn't mean she's late. She's just the third one.
However, I will say to Bresha's credit,
Thank you so much, Amber.
you have gotten better. I don't know if Nick
He is a
smacked
Marine.
you around.
He is a Marine.
Be on time. No, but
Listen.
you've really you've changed in the past,
The word is
9
accountability.
months.
Accountability.
Who eats the most? Who eats the most? That always eating.
One of us. Me.
No, I feel like
We're all eating.
We all
We all eat. All of us love to
Who's
eat.
the diva?
No one's a diva. I don't think any of us are divas.
No.
No,
we're
listen, in this
lovely.
climate, we're just blessed to be working.
Hey, okay.
Listen, it's hot outside. People are striking. You know,
I will
it's
say
crazy.
though, that diva word.
I like her.
The thing about that is, I feel like it's a pejorative, and
Come on, word.
the thing
I
is,
know.
is
You gotta
we
explain that word.
all
What's that word? What's that word?
a pejorative.
What's that word mean?
It means there's a negative connotation around that word, like like
Hold on.
po,
Charlamagne, no
or
one like you knew what that word meant.
I didn't know what that
You
word
liar.
means because what
He
I
write books.
because what
He
she's
write
going,
books.
what I
He
think
know
she's
what
going to say is when a man does what a woman does and they get called divas, they call us bosses.
Sure, yes, that's part of it, absolutely. But what I was gonna say is I think the thing that women get that for is when they're forward and they're direct and they ask for what they want. We all do that.
That's right.
And we're on a network that emboldens us to do that, and like we can ask for what we need. Like, for example, my hair is I have natural hair. I wear my natural hair texture on the show. I'm very proud of it. And I needed like a special hair person for the things that I wanted to do, the elevated hairstyles that I want to do with my natural hair. And honestly, like certain networks, if you ask for that or you say that or you tell them you need that and you really advocate for that, you might get called that behind the scenes, but that didn't happen here. And so it's nice because we all have the strength and we all have the ability to ask for what we need. And I do think when women do that sometimes they get called a diva, and it's not a nice word necessarily, even though it should be a nice word because that's really all it means.
Nobody calls
You're
50 Cent a
advocating for
diva.
yourself.
When
Right.
50 Cent go ask us.
Right.
Okay.
50 Cent asks for what he want.
Yes, and
Yes.
he takes his stuff and he brings it back and he takes it again. No one's
Yes.
calling him a diva. He's a boss. Like, listen. But that's what I love the show. That's why I love the show. I think it's very aspirational to see women taking the lead in so many ways on this show, in our careers, in our love life, and whatever we want to do, changing our careers, just doing what we want and we're taking it, and I feel like we need more shows where Black women are just doing what they want.
Yes, and I love shows that highlight therapy, and I know you go to therapy, Bree. So how important is therapy with these three ladies' journeys?
It's important because one
It's
thing
a big
that
part of the show.
it's a big part because I love that Cree Summer, first of all, is our therapist this season. Shout out to Rosie O'Donnell. Rosie O'Donnell did a phenomenal job last season as well. But I love in our therapy episode is that she makes us answer our own questions. And so usually a therapist is telling you what to do and makes you ponder it. She asks the questions and then we come up with it and we're going, oh. She says, so you know what you want to do. It's in you already. And I think that's the craft of a really great therapist.
Yeah, someone who empowers you to make choices for yourself.
Yes.
and
Right.
leads you to the answers. Yeah, because a lot of times you get therapists and they try to tell you what to do. I think people want that because they want the shortcut. But it also makes for better TV for you to come to the conclusion on your own.
It does. But also people be wanting the money. Therapists want their money every week or two. And, they don't want you, they want you to rely so much on them and not to realize that you have all the questions.
The
answers
in you.
already living inside of you. Your body tells you what you want and can lead you into whatever you need to make the decision, whatever. Just sit with yourself and you can walk right into whatever that needs to be done.
And there's such a stigma, I think, in the Black community around therapy. It's nice to have it on our show in a way that's like we're promoting it we're
Like
encouraging
normalizing
people.
it.
We're normalizing
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we all need to be in therapy.
I think it's changing. You know, and first time I started hearing about therapy back in the day was on Girlfriends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was a luxury, wasn't
right.
it? Like I remember when I will be honest right now. I lost my father while I was filming the season. At the same time, while I was filming a funeral scene, all this kind of stuff. Yeah, so therapy was such an important process for me to even show up to work, for me to even do anything, you know? And I'm so appreciative of that time and of this cast. But therapy really is not just a luxury. It's something that we need to be able to express ourselves, because we can use that energy in good or in bad. You know, you could use that energy if you're going through a loss or grief or a heartache or anything like that. Just because you can't pay your bills, like that's one thing. Right. But like all of those things are still an emotion that you need to be able to get out and express. So like I used to be in that mindset like, oh, if you're rich, you can get therapy. There's other avenues where you can still talk to somebody and get that energy out, because if you don't, it just lives in your body and you get sick.
Absolutely.
How did you deal with those cocktail of emotions, Bree? Because, you know, you celebrating the high of being married. You celebrating the high, I'm sure, of doing season 2, but then you not celebrating, but then the low happened when your father passed.
A lot of prayer, a lot of soul searching and walking in my truth and being grateful that I get to walk in my truth and do what I love, show up to work, be around people that love to laugh. Laughing really helped, and know that I'm living out my father's dream. You know, I was grateful to be in New York. I'm from Baltimore, so I was able to catch a train back and forth every weekend in between. And I know that was all God for me to be here and for me to be on this show. Yes. So I just look at the gratitude in that and just rejoice in that. Yes. And anybody that's listening to this and watching, if you're going through it, I totally get it. And losing a parent, it's life-changing.
Was work therapeutic, or was it a response to trauma? Because, you know, they say sometimes when you stay busy, it's just a trauma response.
It's both.
Okay.
It was both, if I have to be honest. It's both. You know, if you just ignore it a little bit and put it in the back, you're not thinking about it. But also doing it actually lets you live out your emotion. And that was what's so great about the show, is because my character was going through the same things that I was going through. Crazy? It was crazy. Like life was really imitating art. At the
I
same
do
time.
wonder if that was an accident or not, or if that was Rochelle's genius of like giving you those moments to play with too. Like she was writing as she went too. I mean, they were writing as they went. So I do wonder.
Yeah, when I would read the scripts, I'd be like, Rochelle, get on my business.
I know. I mean, I think a good writer pays attention. You know, they pay attention to who you are, and then they can mine that so that you have something to work with, and it can come from a genuine, authentic place. Not that you don't have that ability if you haven't gone through it, but it's not a bad idea.
How are you guys holding up since the strike, since they are striking and they're not writing scripts? So how has that been for you guys?
I mean, I'm married to a writer, so it affects me, you know, right in my household. But, you know, we just keep doing what we do. You know, we're artists. We create, regardless if we're getting paid for it or not. So
and the things that are at stake, we support 100%. We support our writers, and I think every actor is sort of like, I mean, it's interesting because SAG's contracts are coming up too. We're kind of fighting for the same things. We all want the same things. So
and it's time.
It's time. You know, it's got to get tougher before it gets better. You know, it's got to get messy before it gets better.
There's a rainbow coming. Everybody will come on the same page at one point, but right now we stand.
I want to ask you too, Corbin, like, you know, your character makes a lot of sacrifices on her wants and needs as a woman. Yeah. Like, do you have to do that in real life in order to find a partner that you spend the rest of your life with?
I am very blessed to have a partner who supports me like blindly. Like he is like my biggest fan, and that's why big part of the reason why I married him. Like this industry is so demanding. You know, we got to travel, we got crazy hours. You know, you're kissing and hugging on other people. You have to have somebody who is supportive, and it is hard to find. And I feel really blessed that I have somebody who just literally is like, whatever you need to do, I got you, and I understand, and whatever. Like he's there for me 100%. So I'm very grateful that in my personal life I don't have to deal with that. But I do appreciate that on the show, you know, I had the opportunity within the writing and within my character's journey to show like what that can look like, to have to come to terms with that and set those boundaries and then act on them. I think Black women in particular end up a lot of times in that caretaker role. And it can be easy to just go along to get along and just be like, this is the role I have to play, and almost take this martyr position in a way. And it's hard to say, like, this is what I need and this is what I want and I'm going to act on it. And a lot of times, you know, you can get called selfish and it's a negative thing. But I think the way that my character is written is she makes a move, a selfish move in her own interests. And it looks sexy, like it looks good. And I hope that women watch and they're encouraged to make those moves, because a lot of times when you're selfish, it's a loving move for even the people that are affected by it. Right. Because if you're not happy, the people around you aren't going to be happy. And inevitably, that's going to, you know, turn into resentment, or that's going to turn into you being not fully flourishing. And that affects the people you love negatively. So
and that's exactly what my character deals with the whole season.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I actually act on it, whereas you're kind of like grappling with it or tossing it to.
Well, she's realizing that that's why she cheated in the first place, is because she wasn't acting on her true ambition. She was filling all these roles because she felt like that was the right thing to do in order to be successful. And then she's terrified when she's actually confronted with, I've actually hit all these marks and I'm not as happy as I thought I would be. And she's realizing that she wasn't being her authentic self in her relationship. So she wasn't getting out of the relationship what she wanted, because she wasn't giving what she wasn't telling what she needed.
Right. And instead of taking the action like Sandy does in a way that has merit, you know, that way that you can look back on the relationship lovingly and not have to walk away from it with like your tail between your legs or feeling some sort of guilt. It's like you kind of like, you know, your character, I think it's a nice dichotomy. It's like, I take the action, you don't. And then you see the outcome, what the outcome can be. Yeah. You know, do the brave thing or do the thing that's a little bit easier, and then the aftermath is messier.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So that's why you need girlfriends to lean on, because you don't have to cry
and
about
then what's great is that you have the friendship on our show. There's no judgment for making any of those decisions. It's like we just support each other and we understand each other. We give each other space to grieve and feel sad and embarrassed, but also lift each other back up.
That's dope.
I love that.
How do the husbands feel about the on-screen romances that y'all be having, them other men's?
Listen.
My husband's an actor. He gets it. Okay. He knows what it's about. Honestly, and most of my stuff is always with Tosin, and who's like the most gentlemanly, kind, warm, easygoing, very respectful. But we also have intimacy coordinator person that comes to the show. So it feels very choreographed. Anything that we have to do, even if it's just like a kiss on the cheek, they're like, all right, are you comfortable with that? Like, let's talk about it. Which cheek? You know, how much are they going to touch other parts of your body? How, you know,
that's
whatever.
a job title?
That is a job title, intimacy coordinator.
Yes.
So it actually takes away the awkwardness. I think it is. It's a newer job in the industry, and it's essential.
Wow.
Once we had that person, I was like, wow, I feel so much safer.
Yeah.
Wow.
Especially all that old stuff that used to go on with them couples, and they start suing the person.
Yeah, I mean,
well,
it
People
limits
take
that.
advantage in those situations.
They really do.
They really do. And it's nice to have someone else to hold that person accountable and say, you said, literally on paper, they will write, you are allowed to graze her thigh. Like literally is that specific. So if anyone goes outside the boundaries that have been discussed, you can take it to them and you can figure it out and say that was not appropriate.
You gotta have the right person in that job. You can't get like a former porn director or something.
No, you gotta have a very
A
trained.
lot of people that watch
very
television,
formal.
they don't realize that, you know, intimacy scenes are not like as intimate and, you know.
Very choreographed.
You know,
Yes.
we sweating. You be in weird positions for the light.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
the camera
It's not
is
sexy.
It's not sexy. You like, did you have a mint? Like, it's crazy. It's not romantic.
Do y'all see the comments? You know, because they compare Harlem to your show. Do y'all see those comments? What are your thoughts on it?
Listen, why? Why can't we have two, you know, shows about black women in Harlem living their best life? Why can't we do it all the time?
And we need it.
White
It was about
shows.
6 shows of white
Six
people
shows
in
of
New
white
York.
people living in Los Angeles, New York.
Literally.
Especially like these times, I'm looking at y'all, and I'm looking at y'all like y'all chemistry and all that, and how y'all getting along like women, especially us black women, and how y'all support one another, just off the screen too. Just how y'all that love and that support, and I just love it. You know,
Thank you. It's genuine.
We need that as women because we so catty. It's so much competition. And
But
it
that's
just,
what's out there. You know,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. That's why shows like ours in Harlem is needed.
Yeah.
It
Because
is.
there's so much
Drama.
stuff in media that they perpetuate this stereotype of black women.
Yeah,
and
you
how
feel
we,
like you have to be competitive with
And
somebody.
people
Right,
don't realize the power of storytelling, like how you absorb that and how that affects your people's real behavior in their real lives. Like a show like ours encourages you to get those good girlfriends and find those people who lift you up. you know, it can have like a real impact, and hopefully it encourages networks to like make more shows like that.
I was just about to
You
say
know?
that because we need that. Because growing up, we had like the Cosby Show and
Yeah,
you know,
We have
different
Yvette Lee
world.
Bowser as our
Living
executive
Single.
producer, you know, Living Single and
Living Single, all
of
them
those
kinda good
amazing
good
shows,
shows.
about Black women.
Absolutely.
Support
how
each other.
how we was empowered, how you know we had business, we were rich and had families and did all that stuff instead of the other way. I
Absolutely.
love this.
Absolutely.
Thank
And you can check
hold
it
on,
out.
2 more questions. Is it true that Amber was a mess at your wedding, Corbin?
Oh my
That
God.
what?
A mess in terms of she was crying
Yeah,
the
yeah,
whole
yeah.
time.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
it was
I was
so
a mess at her
sweet.
wedding. Oh
I
yeah,
sat next to
sobbed.
the poem. Whatever that
Me
poem
and my
was.
husband were both very emotional.
You know,
You had a Maya Angelou poem.
Yeah, the Maya
that
Angelou
everyone
poem.
in the crowd read together.
I wanted
couldn't even
everyone to
I couldn't
read.
even speak it out loud
No.
while we were doing it. I was very moved by the whole moment.
I just loved the power of everyone's voices together, you know, lifting us up and like reaffirming our love. I thought that was really beautiful. But
That's
I looked
dope.
out into the audience, and Amber was just like, her eyes were just
Losing
like
it.
red. And
I
every
was
time I
directly
looked
in front of
over
you
at her-
during dinner, and you gave a speech, and you're like,
Every
I think
time
I
I
need to
looked
stop
at you,
because
you
Amber
were
is like losing her mind.
It was so funny.
It was amazing. I loved it. It was so sweet.
I love a
No.
wedding.
So
I
sweet.
love a
I'm
wedding.
the same way at weddings.
It's my favorite
Yeah, I
thing.
I love love.
I
I
love
I
love
was
so
about to say
much.
I love love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like God is love.
Yes.
So when people like, oh, forget love, loyalty over love, look, God is love. So ain't nothing above that.
That's why I had to have a choir.
Oh, okay.
Had a choir at my
your wedding.
wedding.
Come
There you
on,
go.
girl. A
You
whole
had
choir. Come
Kelly
on.
Rowland was one of your bridesmaids, right, Bruce?
Yes, that's my sis.
For real?
How y'all developed such a great
Okay.
relationship?
We worked together on Merry Little Christmas. I mean,
Oh, yeah,
we've
yeah.
done 3 of them. We're about to do a 4th one. You know, after you work with somebody, like the love is genuine.
In your
you
spirit,
know?
you have that spirit.
Oh, bless you.
You're
Thank
gonna
you.
be like cousin. If I see her anywhere, I be like, that's my cousin.
You know, Bresha and Duval super cool.
I
right?
know.
Yes,
I
that's
always
my
talk about
fam.
Bresha. Like Bresha, I like, I'm your sister too.
I love you, Duval.
God.
I'm so
Yeah.
proud of him. I'm so happy for him.
Me too.
So happy he's back.
And you met Cicely
Yeah.
Tyson too on that movie, right? Was that the same movie?
No, no, that was A Fall from Grace.
Fall from Grace,
when I
okay.
did that with Tyler.
All right.
The Perry.
good, that's good.
Yeah,
Word.
but you know,
it
the
was
love is
dope.
genuine. It's real, no matter what.
And I've
There we
been
go.
around T.I. a lot, right? So he used a lot of big words. So listening to her with them big words, I'm like, you know what? I'm finna go on back to school.
My mom used to make
I'm
me
just-
read the dictionary.
Yeah, that's what I said. So you gonna make it gonna be
worked,
something.
girl.
It works.
It worked.
Because I'm like, oh, look how she said reform, and I'm like, oh, let me
Reform.
get my stuff.
Season 2, Run the World, May 26th.
And Amber, it was Tyler Perry's studio opening. My wife met your mom, and your
Your
mom
mom was there.
and your mom sends a Christmas
was
card
there.
every year since then.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. And Bresha, you are taller than Little Duval and Charlamagne. I just want to
No,
put
you're
that
not
out
taller
there.
than me. She might be taller
Today.
than
I'm gonna
Duval,
put some
but not
respect on. I got heels on. I'm not taller than them.
May 26th on Stars.
That's right. Appreciate you. Bresha, Webb, Corbin, Reid, Amber, Stevens, West. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so
It's the
much.
Breakfast
So
Club.
fun.
Good morning.
Always.
Wake that ass up. In the morning. The Breakfast Club.